Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
And remember these golden words of wisdom. Even a fish stays out of trouble if he keeps his mouth shut. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot calling in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, good morning. And a good morning to you and your family. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell, and we'll start off a Tuesday morning, the last Tuesday of July, the 31st, and we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, 7 of them serving you, and they've got the best of tires, and of course, always the best of service. And of course, don't forget some of our great advertisers, like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well done, my dear friend Jerry. Good to hear from you, and thank you for your call, sir. Thank you so much.
You bet. May you have a wonderful day, and may the Lord bless you and every one of them children out there listening.
All right, Jerry. Thank you. Appreciate it. Right now it's time for the weather, brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Hello, Roger and the crew. Roger will going out. I'm telling you what, they are there early in the morning, starting at 7 o'clock, and the very best of rental tools and equipment. I mean, everything from jackhammers to rototillers, you name it, it's there. They've got a whole big front yard of all the equipment, and I mean everything to serve you. So please get a hold of them today. K&R Rental on the Burley Paul Highway, and the number to call 678-3122. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Another warm and smoky day here in the valley. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are expecting areas of smoke, so if you have some upper respiratory issues, please make note of that, as we do have fires burning to the north and to the east. Other than that, mostly sunny skies. It is going to be hot. Calling for a high of 97, possible triple digits. Winds out of the east-northeast, right around 5 miles an hour. Tonight, areas of smoke before midnight, partly cloudy skies, expecting a low of 63. By Wednesday, mostly sunny skies, cooling off to about 94, if you want to consider that a cool-off. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low of 63. Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high of 91 for Friday, sunny and 86. Looks like mid-80s for Saturday. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I'll take it. Thank you so much, Gina. Great job again on the weather. Brought to you by K&R Rental, and they conveniently offer their rental tools and equipment for both long and short-term usage. Get a hold of them today. K&R Rental, number to call 678-3122. Oh, my goodness sakes. Also, I want to remind you, Thursday is sale day at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, with Merv May, Kay Draghi, and Lance Udy at the the sale that works for you. And, of course, the number to call for cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. Great folks serving you in the livestock industry. Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, with sale on this Thursday at 10:30. Don't you miss it. A lot of happenings going on today with the Minidoka County Fair. We'll be telling you about some of the things they're going to be judged at and the different classes, etc. We've got fair information about almost every other fair here in the Magic Valley that's going to be starting up shortly. And it makes it a little tough to get everybody in so that we don't overlap each other. And I want to make sure that we give each fair their due and just dessert. So we'll do our best. Don't forget, I know somebody else that does their best every time they open the door, and that, of course, is Daryl's Cleaners. And they're located at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. I had another call the other day after I made mention of the fact that if you don't have time to do your clothes washing, they will. At Daryl's Cleaners. That's right. They will wash, dry, fold, and iron all the clothes and have them ready for you. I mean, what could be easier than that? Take them in, go pick them up, put them on. There you go. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in, see my friends. They are absolutely the best at what they do. And that last tagline is also attributed to almost all of our great advertisers and sponsors on this program. We certainly appreciate them. Want to remind you that, of course, the 70th annual Minidoka County Fair is in full swing. And today, Tuesday, they're going to have, along with all the other judging, etc., they're going to have a Tiny Tot Gymkhana that starts at 6 o'clock tonight in the Rodeo Arena. And at 7 p.m., the PMT free concert with Charlie Jenkins. That's going to be exceptionally good. And this morning, 8 o'clock, they started the horse quality and performance and judging all the open class entries and livestock. Let's see, they're going to have the livestock pens judged at 6 p.m. tonight. Just a lot of great things going on at your 70th annual Minidoka County Fair, where they say building dreams at the Minidoka County Fair. All right, your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Whew. LeBron James. I heard something that really kind of spooked me a little bit this morning. Some of the sports personnel with Sports Illustrated magazine and ESPN and others have basically kind of opened the door a little bit for LeBron James when he retires, possibly to get involved in politics and, heaven forbid, may even run for president. Now, he did not say this. I want to emphasize, James did not say this, but it was kind of intimated by some other people. He does not know a thing about politics. He does not know a thing about trying to get along with other people or trying to maybe perceive what's good, bad, and ugly for the country. And like my grandmother used to say, he would fall into the same categories possibly as Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, and the like. And now we've got a new one that has taken over on the West Coast over in Washington State with this free socialism, and that's Sarah Smith from Washington State. Another one that we have to be really afraid of. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for your call.
Well, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
I was watching TV last night, and something came on that really disturbed me, and that was as if that was something new. But anyway, this came on about the Koch brothers.
Yeah.
Are you acquainted with them?
I do not. No, when you say the word acquainted, it means like I know them, have visited with them, or whatever. No, I do not.
You've never been to dinner with them, right?
No, as a matter of fact, they wouldn't pick up the tab. They wanted me to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, now they're not liking the way President Trump is trying to get these tariffs and everything and get this country right back on track. Well, they've been known to lean more Republican than anything. And now, if you think we had problems with George Soros, this could be a real problem.
Well,
because these folks have a lot of money.
Oh, there's no question about it. The Koch brothers can influence any and all situations, not just here in the United States, but also worldwide. But let me just say this. And this is kind of a long and lengthy answer I'm going to condense because I got short time this morning. The Republican Party is not showing any spine. The Republican Party is not showing any leadership. The Republican Party is not showing any backing of President Trump. The Republican Party has not shown that they're grateful for a GNP, gross national product, that's over now 4.1% and growing. The Republican Party has not shown that they're appreciative of the fact that Trump has met with the world leaders and tried to establish more of a rapport. And quite frankly, I'm disenfranchised with the Republican Party. I always on the program every day, I go after the Democrats and some of their dribble, but I'm going to choose to go after the Republicans this morning because they're not doing the job with leadership with Ryan or McConnell or anybody, and they need to be slapped around a little bit to get the job done.
Yeah, and they also mentioned that they may go and support Heidi Heitkamp for re-election in South Dakota.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen either. That'll cost him a Senate seat. And this is not speculation. This is just more or less a statement. If they decided they liked Paulette Jordan, what a mess that would be.
You have brought up a subject that I'm going to get into here in a little bit because the Times News, why they seem to be having a love affair. They're having a love fest with this new face on the scene for Idaho, Paulette Jordan. And the headline this morning, and Keith, I've got more calls coming in, but I just want to throw this at you and give me a short answer. Have you ever heard of a progressive conservative?
Never.
That's what she's calling herself.
But I don't believe in them.
Yeah, I don't either. I appreciate your call as always. Caller number 2, thank you. Keith, God bless you, man. Thank you much.
Go get them.
All right. Hey, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric. Caller, I'll be right there, I promise. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call. They're there. They get there at 7:30 in the morning, 678-0459. They have got the best people working for the best company. All your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, that's not brag, that's a fact, and they do the best job. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. That number again, 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Also, again, a big shout out and thank you to our friends where they serve really, really good food and super nice people. Courteous, great service. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. They've got 2 locations, 611 North Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. I'm not kidding. You go in there, you sit down, you order from all the delicious choices. The people are so nice, you're going to enjoy your meal. At America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. You stop in and see them today. Caller, thank you for your patience. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Thinking about LeBron James and the likes of that Cortez gal. The terrorists out there are cunning, they're vicious, and they're patient. They can wait 10, 20, 30 years before they move in and take somebody over. Now, the Democratic Party and you and the Republican Party are going to sit back and keep letting the decay happen in this country, and the next thing you know, 10, 20 years down the road, we'll have bombings just like they're having over in the other country. They'll walk in and take us over.
I do not understand why the public can't appreciate what Trump's administration has done so far to put the world on notice that we're not going to be a doormat anymore. Why is it a kind of a lead pipe cinch that the Democrats and everybody else is saying, well, gee, this new awakening, why we can't have that, why we can't be number one, why we have to let people walk all over us. And I'm glad there's a new sheriff in town, and I'm going to tell you straight up, Tony, and I know you agree with me, I don't care about the Democrats. I don't care about the liberals. I don't care about these weak-kneed, milquetoast Republicans. It's time that we made America better like it used to be.
Well, it's going to take another Pearl Harbor or another 9/11 happenings in 3 or 4 cities to wake the people up.
I hope not.
There hasn't been really a lot of bloodshed yet in this country, but it is coming.
All I can say is I pray that you're wrong. I hope that we don't have bloodshed. I hope we don't have big insurrection, etc. But the caveat is I don't think you are wrong. Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome, Zeb.
God bless you, man. Thanks. Hey, I want to let you know the merchants in the Cassia County Fair area are saying come on in and enjoy the Cassia County Fair in a couple of weeks. I'll tell you what, Magic Valley Irrigation at 44 East, 500 South of Burley with Jeff and the crew. They've been offering irrigation system service and repair since 1978. The best, Magic Valley Irrigation, and the number 678-3101. Pickett Equipment Company. I've known these people for 40 years. And they're at 976 East Main in Burley. Most innovative edible bean harvesting equipment. Really nice people, knowledgeable people that can help you at Pickett Equipment Company in Burley. Dot Foods, 1541 West 27th Street in Burley. Number to call, 678-6063. Every day they want to make the community better for you and for them. What matters to you matters to us, they say at Dot Foods. And they, of course, in Burley, 678-6063. And lastly, Perkins Bakery and Restaurant at 800 North Overland in Burley. And believe me, easy to get in and enjoy a great meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner at Perkins Bakery and Restaurant. And a great place to unwind after the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. Those are just some great merchants that invite you to the upcoming Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
No one's on the phone, sir.
Well, why? I thought I heard the cow.
I'm not really sure, but hopefully someone will call in.
You know, I apologize, Wills. I really am sorry. I thought I heard that cow, and it's not a good thing. It's not healthy when you start hearing cows that are not there.
Well, you know, sir, it just shows that you're hungry.
Oh. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Hey, don't forget Dino Septic Service. Guarantee you these people are special. They really are special because they do a job that you and I and everybody else does not want to do. No. Dino Septic Service, septic tanks pumped and sewer and sink drain lines cleaned, liquid waste removal, septic inspections. Yeah, and they do it with a big smile on their face. Fast, fair, friendly service. Dino Septic Service. Give them a call, 436-6526, or in Burley, 678-1638, with that big truck that says, smells cargo on the way. I'll tell you what, good folks, Dino Septic Service, waiting to serve you. All right, it's your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I listened to quite a few excerpts this morning of this Ocasio-Cortez, get the full 3 names in there. And she was on a stage with Bernie Sanders, and everything was free. Everything was free. Why, my goodness, why have we made all these mistakes for over 200 plus years in this country? We should have just looked forward to her coming on the scene. And Bernie, everything's free. Why, we're going to have free health care. Why, we're going to have free education. Why, we don't have to spend any money for this. It's all going to be free. What a utopian society. Good heavens, where have they been all of our lives? Well, the fact remains, there is no such thing as free. Somebody, some group, has to pay for it. And I'm getting a little bit tired in my old cranky age of having these stupid politicians or wannabe politicians keep harping and carping about free. Well, it's not. And there's been some studies on cost factors. If the implementation of a single-payer health policy was created, that's what the Bernies and that's what the Cortezes want. You know, why? We're going to tout for single-payer health insurance. Do you realize, and I've got books and books and books right here on my desk, single-payer health insurance would be absolutely devastating to the people and our economy. It is estimated that a single payer in 10 years would cost, listen to this, cost $32.6 trillion. I had assumed that Ms. Cortez and Big Bernie had said it was free. Wow. $32.6 trillion? And there would be rationalized care, meaning you want to go to the doctor? Maybe not. You want to have this surgery? You need this surgery? You need this treatment to stay alive? Well, maybe not. Because it would be selective care. Not by your doctor. No. By the government. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
It'd be just like that young child in England that the government wouldn't let them take their child to another country.
Absolutely.
Treated.
Yep.
So if we want that here, dang rights, vote for a Democrat. If you don't want to control anything in your life, vote for a Democrat.
Why is it, Doug, and Wheels, a little feedback on the line here. Why is it, Doug, that they can't be honest about an appraisal as to what it would be, what it would do, what it would cost, and who would be left out in the cold?
Well, when you're trying to sell something that is so evil to somebody, you cannot be honest about it. If you're honest about it, then you can't sell it to them. Sugarcoat it and put all sorts of free stuff on it.
Oh, kind of like a bag of M&Ms.
Yeah.
Okay, so they don't want you to know that it would be selective health care. And if Dougie and Zeb have the same problem and Dougie is younger than Zeb, perhaps they'll lean towards Dougie because Zeb's going to die anyway.
Right. Yeah, how you control a society is you control the elder and the youth.
Well, and you don't mean to tell me that they may go into doctor's offices and say, now, wait a minute. If you treat this person for this problem or this malady, it's going to cost this much money. And no. You can save money for other smaller problems. So just tell that person with a pat on the shoulder that you will sing at their funeral.
Exactly. Just go off and die because you are no longer productive. You are no longer just like dairy cows. When they get to be where they're not productive in the milk herd and they start costing you money, they go to McDonald's.
I'm telling you what, I have studied this, and I'm not going to ever say that I'm an expert on anything because I've heard other talk show hosts rail about how smart they are on various subjects, and they're not. But I am going to say this, of all the studies that I've done, and I think you will concur with me, that single-payer health insurance, it's been tried in other countries, and some of the same pitfalls and pratfalls that we're talking about have occurred and are increasing, and I don't want to see that happen here.
I don't either. That's like that oxymoron, progressive conservative.
Isn't that
liberal?
Isn't that absolutely the dumbest headline you ever saw in your life?
Well, yeah, it's like you say. It's like you saying I'm running to a commercial. So
yeah. Well, no, whoa! I take that as a personal attack.
I know it. It was on the friendly side of a personal attack. How's that?
I'll let it slip this time.
It's just amazing that these low-information people that are too lazy to research what they're talking about and just go along with the crowd.
And here's a statement, and if I were in the Senate or the House for the state of Idaho, Paulette Jordan made this statement in that story, and I quote, "We have bad agents who represent us right now in the State House." I don't think she made a lot of friends with that statement.
Well, I'd like her definition of bad agent. I mean, is that like someone who's trying to take control of the people and take all their rights away, or is that someone who's fighting for the people and keep their rights?
Well, here's what I'm going to do. I've kept every single story from her supposed campaign that's been in the illustrious Times News, and I'm hoping to get her on the radio in the near future. And that's one of the things I want her to really elaborate on, is her choice of words about bad agents representing us in the State House.
Exactly. They can say the words, but they will never tell you what they're meaning by them.
Yeah, I got to run. I got calls lined up. I've got commercials. Go ahead. 15 seconds, real quick.
All righty, everybody. Let's do what we can for our seniors. Let's support them. Let's donate to them. If you can afford to donate a little bit or put them in your will, I mean, they built this country, so it's time for we take care of them.
Absolutely. Very well said. Very well said. Thank you, Doug. All right, buddy. Hey, caller, I'll be right with you. I want to talk to you a little bit about Anthony over at Save on Shells, 1027 Overland in Burley. I am a satisfied customer. Now, nobody's going to write a commercial about that. It's a testimonial. I am a satisfied customer. Me. At 1027 Overland in Burley, Anthony has Save on Shells. I got a brand new shell from Anthony from my pickup. Absolutely, it is just what I want. And it's a beautiful ARE camper shell. They are the best. I urge you to get a hold of him today at 312-1525. That number again, 312-1525. Service and absolutely a great guy. Anthony at Save on Shells, 1027 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. And also, real quick, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Yes, I said I got to get back in there. Yes, I need to call. No, I haven't taken care of it yet, but I'm going to do it today. I've got to get back in there. Got some more leg problems that they've got to address. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Nick Greenwell and all of the physical therapists are absolutely the best with all the exercises, the hydrotherapy pool, everything. I absolutely give them an A+ recommendation. They're good, really good. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, and they can help you get back to being you. 678-1191. Caller, good morning. Thank you for your patience. You're on the air.
Good morning again. You know, we already have a version of single payer in the United States of America, and this is how it works. You buy an insurance policy, and it is called a network. And Zeb Bell, if you take a trip to Wisconsin, your old hometown, and you have a heart attack, and you go to that hospital, guess what? If you're not in a network, you have to pay. What do you think of that?
Well, there's just absolutely nothing that's going to take the place of health care without the word competition. Now, maybe you don't agree with me on this, but the word competition and interstate sales of different policies and different companies, it has to come back. We have to have competition, which is going to help drive the price down and drive the benefits up. And I am sick and tired of these people that absolutely haven't got the brains that God gave a goose, that they sit there and they rail about the benefits of private and single-payer insurance. Keith, it's not going to work in this country. It's going to hurt more than it will ever help.
No, and here's what happened. You know, this is an actual case. I'm not going to mention any names or anything, but this is what happened to this person. They went out of town to spend the winter, and the woman had a massive heart attack and did not recover from it and everything. And now, because they had a policy, or she had a policy, that was very inexpensive, but it did not cover because it was out of network.
Yeah.
And $100,000 is the result of that. Now, they'll never collect it, so the hospital gets nothing, and it's just not a good plan. We've got to get something else.
You know what I'd like to see, and maybe you won't agree with this statement, Keith, but I would like to see the government get completely out of Dodge City when it comes to insurance. Leave it alone. You're not qualified. You're not competent. Senators and congressmen absolutely should not have their noses into something they don't understand or comprehend. Get out of it.
Yeah, and our congressmen should not have better coverage than we can buy.
That's right. Keith, I always appreciate your insight. Thank you. Good shot. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet.
All right. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts, and they've got three locations to serve you. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with my old buddy Juan. There is a sharp, sharp young man, let me tell you. And 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls with Eli, another great guy, and the Nampa location. They've got all the big Doosan equipment. Ooh, man, I'll tell you what, that stuff is good and can get the job done for you. And of course, all the Bobcats, all the shapes, all the sizes, new and used, and they've got everything, all the equipment rentals and retail equipment sales at Barry Equipment and Rental. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and Nampa. Barry Equipment and Rental. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I have a question for you folks out in the audience this morning, and I want you to think about this a little bit. As of late, there have been some professional athletes that have been hauled on the carpet by what I would term the word and thought high court of condemnation. Now, to give you, without going into what was said and everything else over the years, almost a decade ago, when some of these professional athletes today were still in high school and or college, they may have said something or tweeted something that maybe was not acceptable by the masses. Maybe it was something that was against homosexuality. Maybe it was something against abortions. But whatever the case might be, they were expressing an opinion at that time. Well, now, due to the fact that these tweets never go away, and due to the fact that, like I said, the word and thought high court of condemnation, the so-called liberal do-gooders in our society, rank those as being offensive and have to be cleaned up and or the person has to be ruined. They're going after these people literally 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years after the fact and trying to ruin their lives now. What are your thoughts on this? I'm just going to come right out and say it this way. I have said and done things that absolutely, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years in my past, that I'm not happy with and I'm ashamed of. But I've tried to lead my life in such a manner to where I've overcome some of my shortcomings and tried to be a better person. But do I need a high court of condemnation to come after me and say, you said this, Bell, you did this in 1989, you did this in 1984, we're going to destroy your life? Isn't that absolutely ridiculous? And unfortunately, some of these professional athletes and others from other walks of life are paying a huge price because these people that are on the word and thought high court of condemnation are coming after them and absolutely trying to destroy these people. What are your thoughts on this? Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Kind of a purist society to where, oh, I'm perfect, I've never done anything wrong, and I'm going to come after you, and I'm going to wage war against you. Really? Ye who was without sin, go ahead and pick up that first stone. Don't forget the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo, and the big PRCA rodeo over in Jerome is going to be August 7, 8, and 9. Yes, sirree, Bobby. You don't want to miss this at the Jerome County Fair. Always getting bigger, always getting better every year. Your Jerome County Fair and Rodeo. And then on August 10th, don't forget to reserve that night for a great concert with Jesse G. Live in concert. And that's going to be also military night. Bring your military ID and get in for free. All of this at the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo for 2018. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think about that? Come on, give me a call. Let me know what your thoughts are. I mean, maybe, excuse me, while you were in high school, you said something that you're not exactly proud of and thought maybe it would go away, but it's not. Maybe you said something in college that you're not exactly proud of, and it's not going away. And these folks that want to kind of go through everything and find these things and then point their finger at you with their high court of condemnation, and now today want to ruin your life. What are your thoughts on that? Calls welcome, 436-2244. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Isn't that so sick that people can think that if 5 years ago you said something stupid, which Americans do, or all humans do, and now then we're going to take you through the court of opinion.
Yep.
That you have no soul. I don't believe that there's anybody on this earth, and there only was one who is perfect. So, what was it? What's the little thing? Don't try to take the grain of sand out of somebody's eye until you get the boulder out of your own.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. Regardless of the situation, and regardless of what is said or not said, do you not have the right of expressing your own personal opinion on any and all subjects, or the right of free speech?
Well, I was just going to say, isn't something in our Constitution written that says you have the right to free speech?
Well, the point I want to get at right here, the point I want to get at right here is that if you or I do not believe in certain lifestyles, or you and I do not believe in the way certain things are going or the ways things have been done by certain individuals and or groups, do we not have the right in this country to express our opinion and say with a free mind and free speech our thoughts? Has it got to the point where words and thoughts are going to go in front of the high court of condemnation and they're going to destroy your life?
Well, I believe, and I think you and I'm a little older than you, but anyway, in my government classes that I had in high school, I thought we were free to do some of these things, but it also was told to us that if you're free to do something and you think you have the right to do it, you better be prepared for the consequences.
Well, you know, there are many things in society today, and I don't have to tell you this, you know this, that 20 years ago were not acceptable, they were wrong, and they have been wrong since the dawning of mankind. It was a moral or a legal responsibility to make sure that we trained our kids up in the fact that certain things, certain lifestyles were wrong. But today, if you speak out about them, again, the high court of condemnation comes after you.
That's the problem with what we think about this grand country of ours, is that, yes, you're entitled to your opinion, and if you want to express it, then you must realize that there are consequences.
Absolutely. But to have somebody...
I think that we've got to start teaching our kids that from when they're about 9 months old.
Well, but then on the other hand, when it comes down to the Bible, and it comes down to biblical prophecy, and it comes down to the words in that Bible, I'm going to stay with that instead of a high court of condemnation.
Right. I believe that there was somebody greater than all of the rest of the world's humans combined.
Absolutely.
To do what he was doing.
Absolutely.
I'm going to give him my respect.
There you go, Chris. Thank you for your call. I got another one waiting. Thank you so much. Thank you. Caller, please have the patience to stay with me. I've got to get a weather forecast on here real quick. Don't hang up. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they are located right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and the number to call to make an appointment for a hearing screening. Absolutely, it is great. They help me. They can help you. 312-0957. 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Another warm and smoky day here in the valley. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the ranch. We are expecting areas of smoke, so if you have some upper respiratory issues, please make note of that, as we do have fires burning to the north and to the east. Other than that, mostly sunny skies. It is going to be hot. Calling for a high of 97, possible triple digits. Winds out of the east-northeast, right around 5 miles an hour. Tonight, areas of smoke before midnight, partly cloudy skies, expecting a low of 63. By Wednesday, mostly sunny skies, cooling off to about 94 if you want to consider that a cool-off. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low of 63. Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high of 91 for Friday, sunny and 86. Looks like mid-80s for Saturday. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, thank you, Gina. Always a great comprehensive weather forecast brought to you this hour by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. These people are good. Dr. Pickup, Dr. Mitchell, you can trust your hearing health to Mount Harrison Audiology. Call them for an appointment, 312-0957. Caller, you have been great. Patient, I appreciate it. Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Zeb. This is the good news guy.
Hello, Joe.
Now, today we're having for lunch at the Senior Junction on South Overland. We're having barbecue chicken and yummy dessert. Now, a little later I'll explain yummy dessert. Tomorrow we're having ham and pineapple and scalloped potatoes, and again, yummy dessert. Now, I'm going to let you in on a secret, this yummy dessert.
Okay, I'm waiting.
It means I don't know, but it's going to be good.
Oh, Joe, you are really a treat in the morning. Well, listen, man, when you find out what the word yummy is and corresponding to the dessert, we'll look forward to it, but I love the word yummy. Thank you.
Have a good day. Everybody's welcome.
All right, Joe. God bless you, man. There's a great guy with the Senior Junction, and does a really super job. The man is, I believe, 92 or 93. I'm not sure. And he has just absolutely a tremendous personality. He has overcome many obstacles in his life, and I just absolutely have praise for that man. Glad to call him my friend, Joe Taylor. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Like to hear from you, so give us a jingle on the landline. Why is it, in your opinion, call me, I'd like to hear from you, all of a sudden, you know, the Trump administration in office for a year and a half, and quite frankly, we're enjoying a lot of great things and a resurgence of great things. 4.1% GNP. Yeah, that's great. Didn't happen with Obama. And there's very low unemployment. The problem now is getting people for the jobs. The problem now is getting people for the various jobs. Very unfortunately in this country, very unfortunately for the United States of America, I honestly will stand behind the statement that we Americans in general have lost our work ethic. We've lost the ability to get out of bed in the morning, go out, greet the world, have a job, pay our bills, raise a family, save money for the future, and enjoy life. I believe we've lost it. I have never seen so many help wanted signs out in front of businesses ever in this area. And I feel sorry for employers. They've got great jobs available, and they can't fill those jobs. Maybe part of the problem is that we have a society of dependents that have an attitude of gimme, gimme, gimme. Oh, I want more, but oh no, I'm not going to work for it. You're going to provide it. Kind of sounds a little bit like the socialism garbage that has been spread around lately by the Bernie Sanders sect with Ocasio-Cortez and now Sarah Smith and others. Oh, well, we'll have it for you free. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, we've got to get ready for a great flood to come.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the instructions for pouring urine out of a boot are written on the heel. And once society realizes that, the great flood will be here.
What's it going to take? Okay, now I'm going to put you on the spot here, Earl. What's it going to take to get a work ethic re-implemented and restored all the way back into our school systems and all the way into our job vacancies? What's it going to take to get people to get out and go to work?
Well, first of all, what I just mentioned, and just people open their eyes to our past history, where we come from, and respect those that built this for us.
Okay, I'm going to say it a little differently. I think we've got to cut off all the gratuities. If you're able-bodied, you better get to work. You've got 60 days. We're cutting you off. You're not going to have a thing to live in. You're not going to have a roof over your house. You're not going to be able to buy food unless you get your dead butt out the door and go to work.
Well, if they're getting these handouts, Zeb, and they're holding a license to drive a vehicle, they should be working.
Absolutely.
I know this body of mine's getting awful shaky and harder to get to work in the mornings, but I'm headed out the door now. I'm a bit late, but
well, yeah, but you also have
that thought about the instructions written on the heel.
Amen. Amen. I'll tell you something else. You've got a source of pride that has been drilled into you since birth of get up and be your own man, be self-sufficient, self-reliant, responsible, and that's what's got to be taught again in this country. Earl, I got a commercial I got to do. God bless you, man. Thanks.
I'll tell you one other thing. His mother would toss me into the English Channel and tell me to sink or swim.
Okay. And that's not a bad thing either. Earl, God bless you. I appreciate it.
Harness, she had these ears.
There you go. There you go. Thank you. All right, take care. Hey, don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And they are great. Going on a road trip? Oh, you're going to take the kids on a little road trip before you go back to school. Well, it's easy to throw everything in the car and drive out of the driveway, but maybe you better check the tires. Ooh, boy, there's not kind of bald there. Well, you better stop in and see any one of the 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Many of the tires right now that they have are on sale, like the Eclipse tire for your car. It's on sale right now. All-season tread, advanced noise reduction. please drive carefully, drive safely. And don't forget they've got the best of brake service and front-end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries. Yes, they want you to have a good road trip, and then they want you to turn around and come home safely. All 7 locations, including Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Yup, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Well, we've managed to stir up everybody and make some people really mad this morning. Hooray, we did our job. And we're going to take a little break right now and send it over to Wheels for our news from CBS. We'll be back in about 7 minutes. Oh, my. Really smoky outside this morning, so be careful, folks. I know a lot of the listeners have lung problems, and please don't put yourself outside too much. Do a lot of exhausting work or whatever. Be careful out there. Want to remind you, Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, of course, serving you. Stop in and see them today, along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, this good word for our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, they are always at your disposal. All you need to do to get rid of your garbage on a weekly basis to get on that route service is call. It's as simple as that. 734-6969. Always at your disposal. You can stand up on the back porch and wave goodbye to your garbage. Let them pick it up and get rid of it. Western Waste Services, 734-6969. Want to also remind you that the Minidoka County Fair is in full swing. Look out, here it comes, annual Minidoka County Fair, Building Dreams at the Minidoka County Fair. And today, of course, at 6 o'clock, the Tiny Tot Gymkhana. And tonight also at 7 o'clock, the free PMT Charlie Jenkins concert. Woo, going to be good. You'd better be there at the 70th annual Minidoka County Fair. And for more information, call 436-9748. Real quick, I also want to remind you about some really good friends of ours at Ark Animal Hospital. And I can't say enough about the great job that they do in serving you, your pets, and your livestock. Dr. Bill, Dr. Jordan, and the entire crew at Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street, near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. And it's a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, little bitty kitty cats all the way up to big Holstein dairy cows. They can take care of them all. Keep your animals and your pets healthy. Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn, 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Right now, we're going to go on the phone line, and I've got an old friend of mine on the air. Pardon me for clearing my throat. And he's going to talk a little bit about a problem with weeds. Good morning, Monty Brune. How are you?
Very good, Zeb. How about yourself? So you're down in the land of smoke today, huh?
Oh, it is smoky for sure. But now listen, let's not waste a lot of time with me. What is going on in your world? You've had kind of an interesting little problem regarding weeds. Tell us about it.
Well, I established a spraying and small acreage custom farming business in the Magic Valley in February of 2006. Which I operated in the Magic Valley and Wood River Valleys for 10 seasons. And during that time, my issue is with the county weed departments.
Okay.
As a former private business owner, it's extremely hard for private businesses to compete with county governments. And in Twin Falls, where I operated my spraying business for 10 years, I signed up on a list with the Twin Falls County Weed Department. And I don't remember the first year or two we were in business, so 8+ years, we only had one referral, and it was a lady that we knew and knew us. And in October of 2015, I sold my spraying business and always wanted to return back to the Salmon River country and bought a struggle and spray business here in Salmon, Idaho. The next summer, in 2016, we felt we were having to unfairly compete with the Lemhi County Weed Department. So I contacted 2 of the 3 commissioners. One was leaving office, and told them I had some concerns, and would you please define to me the scope and objectives of the Lemhi County Weed Department, which both of them said, well, we don't know what it is.
Monty, I'm going to stop you. Monty, listen to me for a minute. I'm going to stop you right there. I need you to hold the phone really still, and I need you to talk right into it. Don't move the handpiece at all, please. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm on speakerphone.
Yeah, I don't want a speakerphone. Please turn the speakerphone off. I don't like those on the radio at all. The reception's terrible. Let's go just straight right into the mouthpiece, please.
Okay.
All right.
But anyways, I contacted the commissioners in 2016 because they're the ones that ultimately oversee the county weed department. And I asked them to define to me the scope and objective of the Lemhi County Weed Department, and was told by the 2 commissioners they didn't know what it was. And one commissioner asked me if the weed superintendent could contact me, and I said sure, and I never heard from him. So in 2017, we were doing a little better with the business and still struggling to compete with the county. We did fine until we started spraying general weed control, probably in late May, early June. And, we just, how do you compete with county government as a private business?
Yeah.
We're not tax subsidized.
Yeah.
We pay sales tax on our equipment and a lot of our supplies. And in late July of a year ago, I ran into the county weed superintendent, and he told me that the county was 30 days behind. And I said, geez, we're out 2 or 3 days. I'm scratching and have some time to find work. And to my knowledge, in the season 2017, we only had one referral from the county weed department. In Lemhi County, as I said, they didn't have a close relationship with the Twin Falls County Weed Department with only one referral in 8+ years. The question I have is, so by the Lemhi County and maybe other county weed departments not working with private spraying businesses, how does that serve the citizens of that county and their war on weed?
All right, now let me jump in here for a minute and ask some questions, Monty. So you're a private business, and you're trying to serve the public and the county weed bureaus, according to you. And Wheels, you've got to run that feedback on the line here a little bit. You're trying to do your business, and the county weed bureaus are supposedly out taking care of the weeds, but they are not. So then maybe some of the clients are going to call you to ask you to take care of the weeds. So where is the rub right there with the County Weed Bureau not doing their job and you, a private enterprise, trying to serve the public?
Well, the problem is that the county, here in Lemhi County, they do, in my opinion, a horrible job of spraying noxious weeds in Lane County property to tear down the airport and the roadside right-of-ways. And the county up here is about spraying for the Forest Service. They're spraying sheepgrass for the BLM, which is not a noxious weed. And they're also spraying willows for the Idaho Transportation Department, driving past massive infestations of Canadian thistles. And my piece really is why is the county not controlling noxious weeds where it's their responsibility, and at the same time having, in my opinion, unfair competition with private businesses on private property.
Okay, so what, in your opinion, needs to be done or looked at or perhaps legislated that would make it fair and equitable and still everybody would be served properly?
Well, I think the noxious weed law, from my experience, and I did visit with Terry Ruby, who's the Tri-County weed superintendent there in the Magic Valley over Gidding, Lincoln, and Jerome counties, and I had a good relationship with Terry. These counties have, at least here in Lemhi County, they ventured into areas that should they be dealing with the noxious weed law? In my opinion, needs to be tightened down, because right now it's pretty vague, and the county commissioners can pretty much decide that they can be in the spraying business.
Okay, but
there are 3 codes that under the noxious weed law that are all in a row. Idaho statute code number 22-2406 is the county's duty. And in section 4, it says the cost of any such control shall be at the expense of the landowner. Now we have the next code, 22-2406, under section A, have noxious weeds controlled without cost to the landowner. For 180 degrees from 22-2405, and then we have 22-2407, section 2, the cost of controlling noxious weeds will be the obligation of the landowner. So it's very vague, and I think that it needs to be one way or the other, and the noxious weed law needs to get tightened up so the counties cannot basically get into any segment of spraying on any piece of property they so desire.
Well, let me ask you this question, Monty, and again, I know we're talking long distance here on cell phones. It's kind of hard to hear sometimes. But do weed bureaus spend their budgets wisely, or are some of them not spending the money to serve the public? Is there a question about that?
Well, they have a revolving weed fund, so the money they do get in, they put back into it. But once again, the question is, if you're not controlling noxious weeds where it's the county's responsibility, is that spending the public's money wisely?
Mm-hmm. And so what's the ultimate answer for this problem? I mean, would you like to sit down on behalf of private businesses and negotiate with county weed bureaus as to what needs to be done to better serve the public and also take care of the noxious weeds? What is the answer that you're looking for?
I think that, I'm out of the spraying business. That the Lemhi County Weed Department, in part, put me out of business.
Mm-hmm.
Because I simply couldn't generate enough funds that to sustain the overhead and the investment in equipment that I got. So I quit. I was lucky and went to work for a large Idaho company and making a lot more money. I addressed the 3 Lemhi County commissioners last summer in a meeting, late August, and we put together a PowerPoint presentation of weeds on county roadside right-of-ways, county properties, and also private property, and sought some relief from the 3 commissioners. And when we put together a good PowerPoint presentation, and I'm fairly articulate, and when we got done, we did not get a thank you to go jump in the lake, nothing. The only response I got back was from now the former weed superintendent, who, in my opinion, made a hostile phone call to me, attacked my character and reputation, and hung up on me. And so how do you deal with somebody with that type of attitude?
Well, let me ask you this question then. Do you find that weed bureaus, you're talking about Lemhi County primarily, but are we seeing similar problems with other counties if you had a private spray business, whether it's Jerome or Gooding or Twin Falls or Minidoka, whatever? Are there other similar problems that are happening and occurring in other counties?
I felt in Twin Falls County, like I said, in 8+ years of being in business down there and almost signing up on their list, we had 1 referral. And I have several friends and acquaintances that are in the ranching business and have, vast acreages of private rangeland. And one of them, the county weed department, along with the BLM, spent 4 days a number of years ago on private property spraying noxious weeds. I have another acquaintance that the county weed department gave him $20,000 worth of free chemical over several years, and he was too busy to go out and spray it, so the county came out, and according to him, they sprayed for free. So how do you compete with free as a private business when they give you the chemical and also come out and do the labor for free?
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is...
Get tightened up, and my goal and ambition that is for the next young person, or I don't care if they're getting up there in years such as myself, that they decide to be an entrepreneur and start a spraying business, They shouldn't be in a position where I am, where I had to compete with my county weed department. And they charged about 30% of what I had to charge in order to be profitable.
Absolutely. How do you go after the problem as far as solving it with government, whether it's a county weed bureau and private business? How do you go about solving this problem? Who has to sit down and address this?
I think it needs to go back. I had hired an attorney a year ago and had him give me his definition of the Idaho noxious weed law. And his suggestion at the end of it is to try to go to the commissioners, see if we could come out with some kind of a mutual understanding that would serve, the public, the war on weeds, and ultimately a small business in Lemhi County that employs 4 people, which now employs none. I think it needs to go to the legislature. I'm working with my representative, Dorothy Moon, to see if we can't get some of this noxious weed law tightened up, because once again, why, if you have a private business in a county in a rural area that's somewhat depressed, why is the county spraying for the Idaho Transportation Department? Why are they spraying exclusively for the BLM?
Yeah.
And not controlling noxious weeds when they're doing it, willows or cheatgrass, and at the same time neglecting their own responsibilities with noxious weeds. And unfortunately, a lot of noxious weeds are carried by the undercarriages of the vehicles, and it falls off, blows into the borrow pit, it gets established in the borrow pit, and then encroaches on private or public land.
Absolutely.
They should have, their first focus should be where it's their responsibility. And so I'm going to go to the legislature. I talked to a fair number of senators and representatives, and they're pretty much, they don't have a clue what's going on. And I would just like to see the next business that's a spray business, that they shouldn't have to unfairly compete with county government.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm now that you've piqued my interest on this problem and how it may be elongated into other counties and other areas of the state of Idaho, I'm going to do some research on this too, and I'll call you and have you back in the future, and we'll talk about this again. Let us know what happens with your representatives and give us a synopsis of what they say.
And I thank you for your time, and I appreciate Terry Ruby because he was good to work with. And it all comes back to how much equipment, personnel, and resources these county weed departments have. I know Twin Falls has a strong program. Bonneville County has a strong program. And the fellow who runs the Bonneville weed department actually has his own spraying business, and he goes on his days off in the weekends and does work in Jefferson County, from what I've been told. And you drive down there in Bonneville County, and there's Scotch stipples all up and down that I-15 corridor. And one real quick point, here in Lemhi and Custer County, the primary Lemhi County, along the Salmon River, which is, parts of it are a wild and scenic river, this spring we had outbreaks and infestations of fleecy spurs, as well as hoary crest, a.k.a. white top, growing in the river bottoms. And what happens when they had high water, Zeb? All those seeds get pushed down to the river.
Right.
A lot of irrigation systems come out of the Salmon River. So it's a really great way to spread noxious weeds through the water, not only onto the ranch and farm ground here in Lemhi County, but we're sending the wealth all the way down to Astoria, Oregon, in the Snake and Columbia Rivers.
Right. Well, you're very well versed.
Responsibility, and I think the counties would be better served if they would pay a little less attention to spraying, be more in the public education, public relations business, locating these weeds. How did they come? And if you read the noxious weed law, I believe that was the intent of it, not for county governments to become major players in the weed spraying business.
All right. Well, I tell you what, you're very well versed in what you're talking about, Monty. I appreciate it. You've been a friend for a long time. Monty Bruin on the phone with us, and I'll do some more research. You do some more. Get a hold of me, and we'll have more on the air later. Thank you so much for being on the program this morning.
Thank you much, and tell Deanne hello for us, and have a great day.
All right. God bless you and your family. Thank you very much. A lot of things that are questions about county weed bureaus and how the funding takes place and what they pay for, what they do, etc. And we'll have a follow-up on that. Right now, I want to tell everybody that the Cassia County Fair is coming up in a couple of weeks, and there's a lot of merchants in that area that want you, of course, to come to the Cassia County Fair, including AMI at 719 Overland and Burley. Look for the big 28-foot wrench over the door, and they say you'll go nuts over their bolts. That's right. And I tell you what, these are really good folks that are community-oriented at AMI in Burley. Good people. Butte Irrigation at 116 South 600 West Highway 27 in Paul. Don't forget, they've also got another location on Kimberly Road, north of Kimberly by Red Cap Corner. Oh, my goodness, all your irrigation needs right there at Butte Irrigation. And they've got the tagline that says it all, we'll get you wet. Butte Irrigation in Paul and Kimberly. And Mountain Transmission, my goodness, at 1146 East Main in Burley, right in Burley to help you with the best of your transmission needs. Free towing, free diagnostic, free estimates. Don't forget, they've got the knowledge and they can do the repairs at Mountain Transmission in Burley. Really good people. And those merchants wish you a great time at the upcoming Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. Want to also remind you about some people that are really community-oriented, and I've been proud to have them on this program for almost, 15, 16 years? And that's Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with our dear friend Joel Heward. He's the manager, his family, and his staff. You know, death is a part of living, and we all need to be prepared. And when there's the passing of a loved one in a family, please remember Hanson Mortuary is there to serve you always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Please call them, find out more about the pre-planning of funerals. Number 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. And Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Really good people. Okay, in just a few minutes, we're going to be going over to the lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens, but I want to also remind you about what's happening with our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. I love my new chair. I've got a brand new recliner, got it this last week at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Excuse me. And I'm learning it's electrical recliner, and I'm learning how to get all the buttons and everything so that I can go up, down, sideways, or whatever. And it's really comfy. Well, let me tell you something. Today's the last day of the red, white, and blue sale for Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. You'd better get in there. Most everything 30 to 50% off and 12 months interest free. Oh, my great people, Jeff and the crew. And they've got all the carpeting and the bedroom groups in stock and the floor coverings and the love seats and all the mattresses. Please stop in today. The last big day of that red, white, and blue sale at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Really good folks. Love my chair. I got so doggone attached to the old one that I also had at Lee's. Had it for 10, 12 years, and finally, after all the years of coming in and plunking down, it was time to get a new one. Oh, boy, this new one, is it ever nice. I love it. Hey, don't forget, too, you need to get outside. You need to get out and enjoy the great Southern Idaho outdoor experience. Well, how about an ATV from Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World? Man, I'll tell you what. Let's Ride is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4, and they've got 0% financing on ATVs, and don't forget they've got all the watercrafts, and they got the Honda Pioneer side-by-sides, all the accessories, and they've got a super service department absolutely to keep you running. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and this is where the fun is sold. Really good people. Let's see what we have cooking right here. I believe we're all set to go over the river and through the desert and stop at Vicky's Country Gardens at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. And the number to call, the lovely Miss Vicky, 438-5663, celebrating 21 years in business. Here she comes up to the podium right now, the lovely Miss Vicky.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
Well, I am peachy fine, wonderful. What's going on in your world?
Well, it's a little smoky and going to get a little hot today. They're talking 100 degrees.
Ooh.
That's, we only have a few of those days, so don't panic. It's not going to last forever. It won't be long until we'll be saying, dang, I wish it was warm again.
Aren't we creatures of change, though, that will say, oh, it's so hot, I can't take it. And then all of a sudden, when the bottom drops out of it, you'll say, oh, my goodness, I wish we could go back to July.
Yep, I mean, we're never satisfied, but that's just life in general. That's just human nature, I guess.
Well, you're busy right now, too, with the Minidoka Fair, aren't you?
Yes, we are. We've got the fair going on, started yesterday. All the judging's going on today on the buildings and that. Of course, then all the livestock events start being judged. And great little, it's a nice little county fair. It's a place to go and visit and see people you haven't seen in years, or even at least since last year when you went.
Absolutely.
Support our kids over there. We've got a lot of 4-H and FFA kids in there doing their best with their animals, and they've had a long hot summer too. It's been some hot times for them working those big animals and stuff. So go over and encourage them a little bit.
Absolutely. Wheels, we got a little feedback on the line. Please monitor that a little bit. Well, I've got a problem here at my place I wanted to talk to you about. Crabgrass. It is really messing up my lawn. We have never had crabgrass as bad as it is this year. Why?
Well, crabgrass is one that once it gets started, a lot of times you don't notice it, but it's a seeded grass. It's not necessarily spreading all the time by rhizomes, by roots. It goes to seed really fast and seeds out, and so therefore it has a tendency to get away from you before you know it. There are pre-emergents that you can put down early in the spring, like about March, when the grass is just starting to kind of come alive. But yet, it hasn't been warm enough to sprout the seeds yet. Get those down, and it'll stop the crabgrass from coming. But there's also some post-emergent sprays that you can use. We have some Fertilome products that have got weed out with crabgrass killer in it. And it will go in and it will knock that crabgrass back down.
Well, now, once you have crabgrass in a certain area, and believe me, I'm dumber than a post when it comes to crabgrass, and you try to get rid of it, will you be able to eliminate it in the same spot next year? Will you get some decent grass growing?
Yeah, especially if you use the post-emergent spray that actually kills the existing plant.
Oh.
Then that plant is gone, and your other grass can can fill back in. And then keep your pre-emergence down so that it can't, the seeds that have been left there can't germinate and come back up again. That's what a pre-emergent does. Is it stops things from seeding out and growing.
I see. Okay. We have a caller with a question, and I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to say, good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Miss Vicky.
Good morning.
Do you have a warranty on the plants you sell?
I do have some warranties on some of the plants, on my trees and that. We guarantee them through a growing season. We can't guarantee over a winter. Because of our stupid winters, but I do guarantee through a growing season. If there's a problem, let me know in the fall, and we'll sure make it right.
What about when they're growing too fast and too big?
That's your problem.
Well, and that's the problem I have. I bought my tomato plants from you, which I don't buy them anywhere else, but these things are 5 foot tall now.
Yes, the tomatoes have been growing a lot. You want to make sure you're not using a lot of nitrogen fertilizer on those kind.
We're not using anything but water.
Okay, you must have a fair amount of nitrogen in your ground. But as they get that big, you can start trimming them back on the top. Have you got a lot of tomatoes setting on?
No, not really. It's all going to growth.
Okay, I would use some phosphate fertilizer on them right now and get them blooming and setting on, and then start trimming the tops back.
Okay.
Now, it seemed like on one of your shows you'd said you could cut off these branches that didn't have blossoms on them because it's non-productive. Is that?
There are some that come from the bottom, sometimes that don't have any blossoms, that you can trim those off. The main thing is to get a good phosphate fertilizer going on them, and get the phosphate in there to get the blooms coming on to start setting some tomatoes on. Right now it's just building plants, so you must have a lot of nitrogen in your ground.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what. If I get some of that phosphate and everything and put on them, I will probably have to have a truck to haul away all the tomatoes I'm going to get.
You could have to, yes. But that is how you get things to take a hold.
All right, sir. I appreciate your call on your tomatoes. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Vicki, I've got to ask you, Deanne took a bunch of notes. She loves talking to you. I want you to know that. And going into the fall, I had an old-timer tell me about 8-9 days ago. He said, well, son, he says, you think it's hot right now, but when this thing changes and transitionalizes, it's going to drop through the floor and get cold in a hurry. How do you feel about that statement?
Well, it is Idaho, and that can happen here. I'm hoping we're going to have a nice long fall. We had kind of a late start to the spring, so hopefully we'll be able to get into a little bit longer fall. But just I don't know. To be honest, we need a cold winter.
Yeah.
We do. We need to have a really cold winter that stays cold for a long period of time to get rid of a lot of these voles and to get rid of these bugs and these fungus and all these different diseases that we're getting. This staying down cold for a day or two and then warming up in January into the 60s, and that just isn't getting it done. It's more like Washington and Oregon, and they get a lot more disease and that kind, because nothing kills it. We need those good old cold winters. Hopefully no wind, but the cold temperatures.
Well, let me ask you, along with all the tips that you've given us on gardening through the course of the summer and how to better grow things, what about landscaping and landscaping supplies? Do you have a lot of that over there and a lot of great ideas?
We do have. I'm waiting on a load of Montana River rock to come in, but other than that, we've got lots of rock and bark in here. We've got all the weed mat to put down and take care of everything, trees and shrubs, perennials. We'll have new perennials coming in here in the next few weeks. The new crop of perennials will be on, so we'll be bringing some of those in for fall, the fall mums and that. So if you've got a little spot that you're wanting to do, most people are going to want to wait for this intense heat to drop down, but as soon as it cools off, come in and see us and bring us in a diagram or a picture of your place, and we'll be more than glad to help you figure it out.
I had a letter, and it's funny, Deanne talked to you this morning early about bugs and all the chemicals to help get rid of bugs, and we did have a little note come in this last week, and a lady says, I've been gardening since I was 17 years old, and I've never seen so doggone, and I'm replacing some of the words she used, doggone many bugs.
It has been a bad year. I mean, we have had an infestation of ants and earwigs, and the grasshoppers are after us right now. Aphids are thick because a lot of hay's been dropped down, so aphids are moving into yards looking for a place to live and to eat. And so, yes, we have had a ton of bugs, more so than I can remember. It just seems to be a major infestation, especially earwigs and ants, and like I say, the grasshoppers are just eating us alive in the gardens and things like that. And the cabbage worms are out, so dust your cabbages and keep them healthy so that you can make that sauerkraut or whatever you're going to make, and otherwise the worms are going to eat it before you get to it. So, but it's just been one of those years. It's been a bad one for disease and for for the bugs and that kind of thing.
Well, let me ask you this, Vicki, and you and I talked about this on a previous program. I don't remember when, but one of our concerns that you and I talked about was that there seems to be a weakening or a lessening of some of the power of some of these chemicals, etc., to really get rid of all the bad things that might be infesting a garden. Is there more of a trend to go weaken more of these chemicals, or are we going to see some good things come out on the market?
Well, the ag boys have still got the strong chemicals, your professional sprayers and that. But as far as the lawn and garden end of it, we are down to a lot of pyrethrins, pyrethroids, those kind of things that you just have to use them more often. This business of being able to spray once or twice a year is a thing of the past. Now it's pretty much once a week that you're having to come in and spray your gardens. And preventative is the whole thing on it. Don't let them get a head start on you. Kind of keep the fungicides and the insecticides going just a little bit, just to kind of keep your granules down on the ground to stop the crawly ones, and just stay ahead of them is all you can do, because they are not as strong as they used to be. We've lost Durasban, Diazinon, 7. Those were all really good ones that had some longevity to them. The ones we have now don't have that longevity.
Absolutely.
Over the counter, anyhow. Like I say, the professional sprayers have still got the good quality ones that have the longevity to them, but we can't sell them over the counter.
Okay. Now, unfortunately, and I really mean this is going to be our last program for the year with you, and I just absolutely enjoyed all the weeks that we've been together on the radio. 21 years in business. My goodness sakes. Are you aiming for another 21 more?
Well, I think I can do it. I'm not sure. I've always said I can pretty much get anywhere in this place in a wheelchair. I've laid it out pretty good. I might be the oldest nursery woman around, but I could possibly do this. But it's been fun years. Learned a lot. I've helped a lot of people, and enjoyed every bit of it, and enjoyed all the radio shows. It's been a great help to me as far as my business and that, and I really appreciate all that. But just the main thing is to let people know, just because the show is ending, that doesn't mean that your questions have to end.
Right.
If you've got a problem, if you've got a question, give us a call. Come and see us. We're here to help. We're here to answer questions. We'll try to get an answer that will work for you, and more than willing to help out in any way we can.
Okay, well, this is the last time I get a chance for this year to go da-da-da-da-da-da. It's time for the Vicky's Gardening Tip of the Week, but what is it?
Well, I would like to see everybody take time to enjoy your yards, enjoy your gardens. We do have some heat, but sit back, take time to enjoy life in general, because it's pretty short, and our summer's going to be short-lived. Won't be long till fall's here, so just take a little time, enjoy things. Enjoy our community, because we have a great community and a lot of fun things, a lot of fairs and stuff going on. Enjoy all of that, and be good to your neighbors.
One last question for you, Vicki. Now, the Minidoka County Fair going on, do you have a specific job over there? Where can people walk up and say, hello, Miss Vicki, how are you?
Well, I will be at the table at the Fat Stock sale. I will be helping with the sale over there. We have a free lunch for all our buyers and prospective buyers and everybody. If you want to come in and have a pulled pork sandwich, I got the chance. I always do the buy-in of all the food for that. So we got that going on right now. I help out with all that, and but I will be at the sale. If you have any questions, you can call me here at the store. If you want to buy something, do some add-on money. If you don't understand any of that, give me a call. I can explain all that. I can buy for you, Zeb, if you want me to buy you something.
I'll tell you what.
I can wave my hand in the air, and believe it or not, they'll take my bids like you can't believe.
And then you'll take my money, I know. Okay.
I will.
I want to tell you, you're a wonderful lady and a dear friend. Vicki at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. The number to call, 438-5663. God bless you, and thank you, Vicki, and the very best of all good things to you in the future.
Hey, I appreciate that, Zeb. Same to you, and enjoy your program. You do a great job for the community, and like I said, we've been friends a long year, so let's keep it going.
There you go. God bless you. Thank you so much. That lady is absolutely the best. Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. The number to call, 438-5663. By the way, over in that neck of the woods, don't forget, too, the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits. All of this and so much more at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. They are accessible and devoted to serving you. So please make a call today to make an appointment. 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. The professionals serving you at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really, really good folks. By the way, I mentioned earlier this morning, we are handling all the advertising for most all the county fairs in this area, and the Jerome County Fair coming up with their big rodeo on August 7, 8, and 9. Put that on the calendar. It's going to be a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, August 7, 8, and 9. PRCA Rodeo at its best at the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo. Countrywide Country Pride at Jerome. And then on Friday, August 10th, don't forget, the great country artist Jesse G will be in concert. All of this and more at your 2018 Jerome County Fair and Rodeo in Jerome. Right now it's time for our weather forecast, and the weather this hour, of course, brought to you by some really, really good friends of ours, and that, of course, is our friends at Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, assistance with IRS communications, business consulting, and retirement planning. And by the way, Leiden Crane told us, and I want to keep stressing this, get a hold of them today and find out how the tax rates may have changed for you, the deductions may have changed for you. So please, for you, your family, and your business, get a hold of the pros, and that's, of course, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Another warm and smoky day here in the valley. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are expecting areas of smoke, so if you have some upper respiratory issues, please make note of that, as we do have fires burning to the north and to the east. Other than that, mostly sunny skies. It is going to be hot. Calling for a high of 97, possible triple digits. Winds out of the east-northeast, right around 5 miles an hour. Tonight, areas of smoke before midnight, partly cloudy skies, expecting a low of 63. By Wednesday, mostly sunny skies, cooling off to about 94, if you want to consider that a cool-off. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low of 63. Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high of 91 for Friday, sunny and 86. Looks like mid-80s for Saturday. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina. And the weather brought to you this hour by the professionals serving you, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for, like I said, well over 50 years. Get a hold of them today, and they can help you, your family, and your business. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Right now, it is time for the Stotz Equipment Ag Minutes, and they are your John Deere dealer at 119 Overland in Burley, and believe me, they do make your life easier. With me on the telephone is one of the great salespeople over at Stotz Equipment, and we have Golden Zollinger. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb.
You know, it's a real treat to have you on the phone this morning. Normally we have Vic on the line. He's on vacation for a couple of days. Tell us a little bit about Golden Zollinger. How in the world did you ever get into the tractor business with Stotz Equipment?
Well, I've grown up on a dairy farm in Springdale, Idaho. Always kind of had a fascination with green equipment. My dad never really had it, so I always wanted to jump on the neighbors' tractors. And when I got done with college, I had an opportunity to start with Christiansen Implement with Joey Christiansen. He hired me, and I kind of just moved on when Stotz took over. And that's kind of how I got in it. Kind of have an agriculture background, and it's kind of helped me through it.
All right, now, Golden, I've got to ask you this question. You were raised on a farm. You said you didn't have a lot of this equipment, but the innovations that happened to all this equipment, I mean, my goodness, all the scientific add-ons and what they can do and what they are perceived to do in the future. How did you learn everything about these pieces of equipment?
Oh, to tell you honestly, Zeb, I don't think you ever learn the full capability of these things. I learned something new that these tractors can do every day. I grew up driving a tractor. Nowadays, they have GPS that steer for you, and you make the turn, and you type it all into the computer, and they have data collection that they offer, the Stokes Equipment offers, that will take your data from your tractor and put into a computer spreadsheet. You can find price per acre. There's so much technology that these machines have. It's just incredible. They've really figured out how to take this technology and how to help the farmer. It's quite amazing.
Well, Golden, it's not just for the farmers and ranchers, isn't it? I mean, you've got the John Deere lawnmowers. I mean, absolutely. I've had one for years, and I just bought a brand new tractor from you folks not too many days ago. And you've got tractors for the horse owners for smaller operations. Tell us about some of those tractors.
Yeah, we carry the lawnmowers as well as the compact utility tractors. The one that we sold you, Zeb, was I think it was a 3025E. They're more the economy tractors that are super good. They have the Yamar diesels in them. Good power, good price. Deere offers 0% interest on those ones. They are all hydrostat. They're easy to use. They have good lifting on them. You mentioned something about the AQHA, the Horse Association.
Right.
They have big discounts to those guys.
Right.
I just got done selling another one of those compact tractors to a gentleman that was a member of the AQHA as well. There's some big discounts that he got. Makes things a lot easier. They got some good stuff out there.
You know, John Deere, I have never toured the main headquarters. I've always wanted to, but the innovative and the great thoughts for the future with this farm equipment, John Deere really is making people's lives easier, are they not?
No, for sure. For sure. The technology, the reliability, John Deere also relies on the dealerships to keep people going, and I believe Stokes Equipment's a great dealership that will, as you said, Zeb, make your life easier. We do anything we can to make that happen.
You know, with any good business that relies on service, and you have some excellent people there, Golden, yourself and Vic and Jake and all the folks over there. I mean, man alive, you've got a great crew that you really are devoted to creating a service attitude for everybody, aren't you?
You know, we try. It's a struggle sometimes to keep everything going. We have a lot of tractors out there, but with Victor and the resources of Stokes Equipment, we've really tried to build our team to make this possible, to be able to have the right guys and the right technicians to go and service all the equipment that we have.
You know,
we are in the building phase, and I think we're getting there.
Absolutely. One thing I don't want to overlook, though, Golden, and you and I talked about this earlier this morning, Stokes Equipment really has a lot of great used equipment, too. Why don't you tell us about some of that?
Yeah, it's actually a great time to buy a used tractor. We have tons of inventory of these lease returns coming in. We have more than we need, so we're doing a lot of discounting through some of the older equipment that we've had on our lot for over a year. If you go to StokesEquipment.com, there's a hot list on there that will show all the discounted items that Stokes Equipment is offering throughout all their 25 stores. Here in Burley, we have all sorts of sizes of ag tractors that we have discounted. There's a lot of stuff. You come in, give us a decent offer, you might end up taking the tractor home.
You know, I tell you what you've got to concern yourself with right now, Golden. They may just give you an elevated position of being the new Stokes Equipment radio spokesman from now on. You did a great job.
Well, thanks, Deb, but please don't do that. Me and Victor are going to have a little chat when he gets back, but I appreciate it.
Well, tell everybody where you're located and in Burley, if you would, please.
We're on 119 Overland Avenue, just across from Maury Steakhouse on the river. Feel free to stop by and check us out anytime you'd like.
You know, Golden Zollinger, you did one heck of a good job. Thank you so much for being on the program this morning. Stokes Equipment Ag Minutes, your John Deere dealer at 119 Overland in Burley. They do make your life easier. Golden, God bless, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Zeb. Yeah,
you
bye.
bet. Great people over there at Stokes Equipment, and we appreciate the great job they do, all the service people, the sales people, wonderful folks over there at Stokes Equipment. Oh, my goodness, we got a couple of minutes, and in about 10 minutes, guess who just walked in the door and went right straight to my refrigerator and grabbed the bottle of water? Dr. History is here today, and he's going to be on the program with us in just a little bit. A quick reminder, more of the great merchants over in the Burley area that, of course, want you to come to the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. Couple of weeks. Yep, it's right around the corner. Baker Brothers Pump Service, don't forget, 103 West 500 South of Burley. Number to call, Baker Brothers, and these people are good. I guarantee it. 678-9042. They are the fastest and most reliable pump service company around, from residential pump service to water softener sales. Baker Brothers, the best, they can do it all. And Burley Veterinary Hospital, wonderful people at 2869 Overland in Burley. The number to call, 678-5509. Two great doctors on staff for all your animal needs. And don't forget, large and small animals, they absolutely can take care of them at Burley Veterinary Hospital in Burley. And last but not least, Redder's Showcase at 2611 Overland in Burley. And they're going to have that huge Fair Days sale August 6th through the 18th. Holy moly, 12 months, same as cash. Freezers and washers and dryers, refrigerators, all of this and more at Redder's Showcase, 2611 Overland in Burley. And those are some more of the great businesses that invite you to be a part of the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo coming up in just a couple of weeks. Wow. Right now, I want to remind you again that the Minidoka County Fair and Rodeo is in full swing, and I urge you to go over there and enjoy the nice people and all the activities. We're going to take a little break for about 7 minutes and send it over to Wheels at our main station for the CBS News. And then, award-winning and listened to by countries all over the world, Dr. History will be coming up at 10:06. See you then. Wheels, take it back. Oh, good morning. I always feel really good on a Tuesday morning at about this time of the day because I know my old friend is going to be here. Heavy emphasis on the word old, and that's Dr. Ken Turner with Dr. History. Hold on just a second. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. By the way, too, we've got another great segment on Thursdays. It's called Cassia County School Days, and our thanks go out to some wonderful people at A Child's World. 1308 Overland in Burley. They've got everything. All the games, puzzles, toys, clothing, furniture. Oh, my goodness. Your young ones will absolutely be treated like kings and queens at A Child's World. 1308 Overland in Burley. And a Cassia County School Days on Thursdays at 10:10. Oh, my goodness, here he is with all of his radiant glory. I know his entourage always leads him into any building, and they roll out kind of a 18-inch wide red carpet, and he has come down the hallway and perched in the chair. Good morning, Dr. History.
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing?
I'm wonderful.
Good, as usual.
What is going on in history's world?
Well, I'll just tell you, this past week I was with some of my kids and grandkids over to Bear Lake.
Oh, beautiful place.
Beautiful place. For people who don't know, Bear Lake is kind of on the northwestern corner of Utah, and half of it, and the other half is in the southeastern part of Idaho.
Right.
So half the lake in Idaho, half in Utah. But I got to tell you, Zeb, Just north of there a little ways is a town called Montpelier.
I've been there many times.
And they have a museum there. It's the Oregon and California Trail Museum.
I didn't know that.
Great little museum. And they actually have a whole bunch of paintings by Gary and Bev Stone in there.
No, I did not know about that museum. Whereabouts in town is it?
It's just right in Montpelier. I couldn't tell you exactly. But
really?
Now, another thing that's really cool there is a bank that was the last bank robbed by Butch Cassidy, and they have turned that into a little museum.
Really?
And it's just a fun little museum. You go in there, and it's the last bank that he robbed. But they have a book that's been written by Butch Cassidy's great-nephew. And I'm about in the middle of that book right now, reading about Butch Cassidy, and I'm anxious to get to the end to see what they say about whether he died in Bolivia or not.
Why didn't you cheat and read the ending first?
No, I'm not that kind of guy.
Oh, my goodness.
But I got to tell you, August 11th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Montpelier, they do a Butch Cassidy bank robbery reenactment.
Now, you said Butch Cassidy 3 times without the Sundance Kid. Were they not teamed up at that time?
You know, they weren't. The movie shows them being together all the time, and I don't think they were that much together.
Where did they meet?
I'm not sure yet.
Oh. But you haven't come to that part of the book.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but another kind of cool thing on our way home, we went through Soda Springs, and just south of that is a little town called Grace.
Yes, I love that town.
And a little further south is a little smaller place called Lego.
Yep.
And
that's where they make all the plastic pieces.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Oh, Lego. Yeah, okay, I gotcha. Okay, so L-A-G-O.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So we found this little cemetery, and in this cemetery is my great-grandfather, John Radmore Turner.
No.
And there were 5 little gravestones because they had 5 children that died as infants.
Oh,
and
my.
So him, his wife, and 5 of these infants, and that was my grandpa's dad.
So it'd be your great-grandpa.
Yeah, my great-grandfather.
Wow.
So it was kind of neat to...
What years was he on the great face of the earth?
They left England in the late 1800s.
Ooh.
Got to out west here. I don't remember the exact dates, but I'm going to say just late 1800s.
And he passed away?
I want to say 1906 or something.
Wow.
Like that. So anyway, it's kind of neat to go see
I'll bet it was.
Some of the family's graves.
Did you always know that he was buried there?
Yeah, but I just had never been to the cemetery.
I see.
So
you really do live the life of Dr. History.
I do, and I love it.
You do, I can tell.
So we're going to talk about the townsmen.
The townsmen.
The people that started the towns.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, a new Western village is really kind of indescribable. I mean, it's an army of men and women, doctors, merchants, millers, barbers, bankers, blacksmiths, and all these people poured westward in the second half of the 19th century. They were going to transform the wilderness into a thriving land, and as one editor said, to get rich if we can.
Now, I have a question for you before you get started. How were sites of towns chosen?
Well, I think we'll get to that.
Oh, you always say that.
We will.
Okay.
But they started towns by the thousands, and mostly on the prairies and plains, where they looked around, they saw that farming looked like it would be good. And they laid out streets, but they had fires and floods and famines. I mean, it was not easy starting up a town. I mean, they had the outlaws, the desperados, but mostly, they were serious men and women that were honest, trying to just build a new society in the wilderness. They just wanted to make a place to raise their families, really. But the western towns were slow getting underway. The mountain men, really, the only thing they had was trading posts. They didn't really have towns. They just had like Fort Hall and Fort Bridger.
In a city like Montpelier over in Bear Valley area, that was probably formed and thought of because of the trading of the mountain men.
Yeah, originally that's where it all started, yeah. But when they saw, and that's a beautiful valley over there, great place to raise cattle and farm. But, the first American town to be incorporated in the West was actually Oregon City, and it was the creation of a fur trader, an Englishman by the name of Dr. John McLaughlin. Now, he directed the affairs of the British-owned Hudson's Bay Company, the fur company, years and years ago in the Oregon country. Well, when American pioneers and missionaries began to filter in there in the 1830s, The company actually told him, do not help the newcomers. They were aware that their presence would affect the decline of the fur industry. So they told him, do not help these newcomers that come out. Yeah.
Really? Have you been to Oregon City?
Yes.
I have
I've
many
been up
times.
Through there. Yeah. But, on the other hand, this Dr. McLaughlin felt certain that the future of Oregon, the country would inevitably belong to the Americans. He kind of saw the future. And eventually he would lay out a town and sell lots to the incoming settlers. So he actually helped settle Oregon City. Now, in the autumn of 1842, McLaughlin hired a pioneer by the name of Sidney Moss to plat the town, mark off its streets and lots at a site besides the falls of the Willamette River. And Moss, this guy, was totally unqualified as a surveyor. He got the job only because he owned a pocket compass.
Oh, my
This was your surveyor.
Oh, my.
Well, 2 years later, McLaughlin got a guy by the name of Jesse Applegate, and he was actually a genuine surveyor to enlarge the town, to set it out. Well, unfortunately, Applegate had lost his surveying instruments on the way west, and he had to make do with just his eye and, looking at things, and he had a rope that was 4 rods, which is 66 feet long. Okay, that's what he used to lay out this town. Now, keep in mind, Zeb, his rope stretched in wet weather and shrunk in dry weather.
Uh-oh.
So, this explains why Oregon City kind of has some oddly shaped blocks.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he just used this rope to plat out
And so that whole
lots.
town or city, Oregon City, was laid out with a 60-foot rope.
66 feet. 4 rods. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Well, McLaughlin himself retired from the Hudson's Bay Company. He became an American citizen in 1851, and by that time, other towns had sprung up in the foothills of the Sierra Nevadas, and as the decade wore on, new town buildings were set off, by the push of the pioneers heading out that way.
Yeah.
And then, of course, right in there...
Wasn't Oregon City the kind of a receiving city for all the pioneers?
I think it was a lot, because then they spread out, of course, from every direction. Yeah. But, the Civil War slowed the westward movement for a while. But after this storm passed, the real rush began. Homesteaders and townspeople surged into the prairies and plains by the tens of thousands, filling up the regions of Kansas, Nebraska, Dakotas, of course, Montana, Idaho, all along the Oregon Trail on either side. And the spacing was no accident, the way they set up towns. And then you asked about this, because it allowed a pioneer farmer to make a trip to town to buy nails, have a wagon fixed, get a haircut, consult with the county commissioner, and still get home in time to feed his livestock in the evening.
Right.
So the towns were spaced apart just far enough so that a guy could get to town and back in one day.
So with a horse and buggy or a wagon, a team of horses,
10 miles maybe?
You're talking 10, 15 miles.
Probably, yeah. So a lot of other towns on the prairies and plains came into being as kind of layover points for people and goods that were in transit. In other words, teamsters that were hauling goods, they'd only go so far, and they'd like a place to stay for the night.
Well, I would imagine the number one prerequisite of finding a site was having water.
Exactly, yeah. But, and there again, the first really transcontinental routes of passage were blazed by the immigrants, of course, the Oregon Trail and the other trails. But the Missouri River played a huge role. Hundreds, and we talked about this, steamboats carrying passengers and goods on the first leg of the cross-country as far as they could go, up into Montana. But these land and water routes afforded natural stopping places where men stopped for whatever, just to rest and to get goods and one thing and another.
And when you talk about goods, Ken, answer this. I would imagine like on the Missouri River, you talked about that a couple of weeks ago, that the goods had to be there first before the people showed up.
Sure.
And that took a lot of coordination.
And that's why there were so many of those steamboats that they probably carried more goods than they did passengers in some respects.
Really?
And so, people could charge, I guess, what they wanted when they got there for their goods. But, gradually the railroads reached across, and in 1869, a a good location was if you were by a railroad.
Yeah.
Ellsworth and Dodge City, Kansas, they had some really big boom times in the 1870s and 80s because they represented the meeting points of cattle drives from Texas.
That's right.
And the railroads that would haul the beef to market.
You ever been to Dodge City?
I never have.
Oh, go. Please, you'll love it.
Well, and Sioux City, Iowa, founded in 1854 on the banks of the Missouri. It hit its stride in 1868 when a Union Pacific spur line arrived and, of course, transformed that into a major port for steamboat traffic. Now, Ogden, Utah was actually twice blessed when the Union Pacific came through in 1869, and a railroad from Salt Lake City connected there with the Transcontinental Line in 1870. So Ogden became a huge stopping-off place,
At one time, I read someplace, and maybe I'm completely wrong, that Ogden actually was thought to maybe grow bigger than Salt Lake.
It could have been because it was the main hub right there.
Yeah.
And there was a line that went out to what we call Kelton, Utah, which brought a lot of goods into us here in southern Idaho.
Right here.
Yeah. So anyway, like I say, the railroads actually created towns by the hundreds. Cheyenne, Laramie, Wyoming were two of the communities launched by the Union Pacific as the tracks went out in 1868 and 69. And conceiving and selling towns in the West was a big business. So, settlers or speculators, they could stake out 320 acres, a plot.
Right.
And the land was divided into lots, which were sold to prospective townspeople.
Really?
So, they really wanted to promote their town.
Yeah.
So, anyway, whatever the circumstances that gave birth to a new community in the West, a predictable cast of characters appeared, and you're going to be surprised at this, Zeb, but guess what the number one thing that they wanted?
Okay, let me take a guess. I would imagine, well, first of all, a general store.
Nope. How about a newspaper? You wouldn't have guessed
Instead of a general store?
Yeah.
Really?
So here's why. One of the first citizens of any community was the editor because he was hired by the promoters to promote the town. So he would write all these praises, all these great things about the town and beautiful, the river, the streams, the whatever. And people would say, wow, that looks great. I want to go there.
So basically he was the first and original advertising agency.
He was, exactly. But, frequently a newspaper, like say, preceded the town itself.
No kidding.
There's a guy named Adams. He printed his first issue on a riverbank in 1854 and wrote that, quote, all the type in present number has been set under an elm tree. When the first house in town was built, the paper moved in. So he was out in the open setting up his newspaper.
Really?
So, but, an editor's performance was closely watched by the townsmen, all right? They had some pretty strong feelings about somebody that wasn't doing a good job. In fact, in 1878, there was a guy that was not doing a very good job. He printed with worn out and broken type. The publication was so hard to read that the residents, get this, Zeb, invaded the editor's premises, seized him with the intention of tarring and feathering him.
Oh, my.
No tar was available, and no one was willing to contribute the contents of a precious feather bed, but a way was found.
Uh-oh.
They coated him with sorghum molasses and feathered him with sandburrs, both of which were in abundant local supply. Then, they're not done.
Oh, my God.
The punishment by riding him around town on a wooden rail. Okay? The editor sold the paper thereafter and left for parts unknown.
Now, wait a minute. The molasses and sandburrs and...
How do you wash that off?
Boy, I don't know.
And then they put him on a rail. I've heard that saying before, but anyway, he left. But,
he started the Times News.
I guess. I don't know. But any community that hoped to grow needed a hotel, which kind of along those lines, to accommodate prospective townspeople as well as people going through. And a hotel keeper was generally among the first arrivals, and his hospitality was often a little bit crude. There was a guy named Sidney Moss, opened the first inn west of the Rockies after platting Oregon City in 1842. His establishment did not possess a single bed or chair. Guests paid him $5 a week to sleep in blankets on the floor.
What kind of amenities, though? You really bring up an interesting subject here. We ought to do a series of what the various businesses were really like the Dodge House in Dodge City, Kansas, or maybe a restaurant and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, but a Frontier Hotel, one guest who was a little concerned about the condition of his towel that he was using
his towel,
to wash your face, a towel. He was told by the owner. He said, "Well," he says, "there's 26 men used that towel before you, and you're the first one that complained."
26?
Yeah. So he was the first one to complain about using a towel. But anyway, so that's kind of...
hygiene was lacking.
Yeah, but at that stage, I guess if you were able to sleep on the floor inside under a roof, even if it was on the floor with your blanket or saddle blanket, I don't know.
When did the concept of like a hotel with a bed and a washstand, etc., when did all that...
Well, I think, just gradually as the towns became established, then there were more hotels. And so obviously...
what did you just do?
Oh, that was my rubber band.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sitting here about 5 feet across the desk from him. He's shooting me in the face with his rubber band. Here, have it back.
Thank you. That's how I keep my place in the book.
Holy smokes.
But, now another thing that is kind of interesting, the groceries you mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of these stores actually would put up a false front.
Oh, a false front building.
Yeah, because it made it look bigger. It stood out more. So, they just did whatever they could to get business and help out the sellers.
What about the food, though, for the groceries in a general store? I mean, they didn't have distributors coming out of Salt Lake City or whatever.
Well, as I mentioned, over here, not too far from us, is Kelton, Utah, where the end of the railroad came, and people would go over there maybe once a month to get goods that came in on the train and take them by wagon back to Elba and Alamo, Declo, Oakley, all those little towns. So I think that's happened a lot throughout the West, is the end line of the end of a train line, where it ended is where a lot of people would just come to get their goods.
Really?
So, and those places pretty much dried up after the railroad kept going farther and farther.
I would imagine items like fruit, apples and oranges and pears and everything, boy, they were in hot demand.
Oh, yeah. And if you lived obviously in Oregon or someplace like that where you could grow your own fruit.
Yeah.
But even here, people could grow apples and oranges and peaches. And you look down the Hagerman Valley, not too far from us, there were places all across the West where they could grow fruit. And, of course, they grew their own gardens. Everybody had a garden. Even the military, the forts, they would a lot of times have their own gardens.
Let me ask you, in the state of Idaho, what's the oldest town that is still going in the state of Idaho?
Oh, boy.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but what is the oldest established town?
I hate to admit that I'm not sure. I have heard and I cannot remember. I know that up in Alamo, that Tracy's store is one of the oldest stores in Idaho.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a fun little place to go into. They make a great sandwich. But, I should know that. And for some reason, I'm thinking it's up in northern Idaho.
I did too.
But I cannot recall exactly where. That's a homework question for me. I'll find out.
Okay.
But anyway, so the townspeople, they, like say, some towns just blew up and, and don't exist at all. Nothing left. In fact, some towns actually, if things didn't go the way we wanted, they would pack up and haul everything out to a new town site.
What was the biggest fear factor? Now, I just finished reading a book, and I got to go find that for you, that the disease cholera, they had to be very careful with the water conditions and everything in towns. Literally, it could wipe a town out.
Yeah, cholera was huge because they didn't know what caused it.
Right.
So... And just like we talked about some of the Indian tribes, that some of the smaller tribes would be completely wiped out because of, cholera. Epidemic.
And water, again, comes back to being, I still think, the number one source that they needed for a city, a town.
Exactly. And at that point, if they had enough water to start irrigation projects, start canals and even maybe small dams. So, of course, watering the fields, crops.
Absolutely.
And that would obviously help establish
Kind of makes you wonder how any town in Texas ever got started.
Well, Las Vegas. I mean, Las Vegas was a watering hole.
Yeah, really.
Across that desert, And
you've opened up another Pandora's box of programs to where we really could do a lot of research on the towns and how they were laid out and the water supplies and the different businesses coming in.
Yep.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it was a huge part of the Old West, the growth of the Old West.
They didn't go to 7-Eleven at 9 o'clock at night.
No.
Wow.
Anyway, that's
a really good story.
I like that. It's kind of gives you an idea of what life really was like, and how tough it was.
Now, I understand that you are not going to be here next week.
Right.
And we have the possibility of getting a gentleman on the air that does historical podcasts.
Yeah, John Hagedorn is his name.
Yeah.
And just a plug for his webpage, his podcast, it's 1001, what did I put that?
Heroes, Legends, Histories, and Mysteries.
Yeah, so look that up.
Yeah.
He's got a lot
I'm going to try to get him on next week.
He would do a great job for you.
And do you have anybody you want to thank or acknowledge this week? Normally every week you do.
I want to thank Brian, and I want to thank John, and the people over in Montpelier was super friendly.
Really?
At that museum, the museums I went to.
I've got to go to that.
Those are great. And actually in Paris, Idaho, which is a little town.
And it does not have an Eiffel Tower.
No, it has a really small little museum that's really cool. They have an old LDS tabernacle that was built way back a long time ago that they give tours through, and is built with rocks taken or stones taken from the mountains. And
you really do live the life.
One more thing. Did I tell you? There's a melodrama theater called the Pickleville Theater or something like that.
I've heard of that.
That they put on the funniest, greatest melodrama. I mean, I laughed so hard.
Pickleville. I'll have
it's
to
right by Bear Lake.
All right. Dr. History hit a home run not only out of the park, but across the street. There he goes. Great job. Thank you.
You have a good day, Zeb.
Well, we're going to send it back over to Wheels for a few moments, and then I'll come back with our next guest. Very interesting conversation with Carrie Lutz about how bad the homeless situation in San Francisco is. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, my goodness. This next gentleman that's on my program this morning has been here before, but this story that he has written called The Open Sewer Theory of Policing absolutely will get your attention, to say the least. And I can't wait to get him on the air. So good morning, Kerry Lutz. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Zeb. Thank you so much for having me back on. It's an honor.
Well, it's a privilege and a pleasure to have you, Kerry, but I've got to tell you that, and Wheels, watch the feedback on this line, please. I've got to tell you that I've talked to many of my friends that live in California and have been in and out of the San Francisco area as of late. And some of the things that they have told me about the homeless situation in San Francisco and the lack of human decency and respect, absolutely, I don't even know if it's worthy for a talk show on a Tuesday morning.
It really can turn your stomach. In the name of liberalism, we've created this vast homeless population, and when you ask liberals, why does it happen, they say, oh, well, it's the richest nation in the world. The fact that we have all these homeless people is a symbol of the failure of capitalism, and really nothing could be further from the truth. It is a symbol of the failure of liberalism, because liberalism put these people out there in the first place when they should have never been out there. They should have never been released from the institutions, and allowing public insanity, public display of mental inability to deal with life, rather than helping these people by institutionalizing them, is the true failure of liberalism.
You know, Kerry, to get into a story like this, and I got to compliment you up front and tell you that I thought you did an excellent job on this article. But I think you need to paint a picture of how severe this problem is in San Francisco, and it's not the only place. I mean, L.A. and other major cities are going through some of the same semblance of a problem. But I think you need to paint a picture as to how much of an open sewer it really is.
Yeah, well, I don't like to get into the nitty-gritty details, but you're right that the streets are paved with discarded syringes and excrement. And I say, if our forefathers back in Europe and wherever they came from, if they were told rather than the streets were paved with gold, they were paved with excrement, they probably wouldn't have come here. I mean, there are people living on every street corner, many of them with severe mental illness, and they're violent, a lot of them. And the ones that aren't violent get victimized. I mean, it is an open sewer. There is no longer any penalties for antisocial behavior, like relieving yourself on a public street, like shooting up in public. They're shooting up heroin and other drugs right out in the open with no fear of retribution. It is a breakdown of society, and the beauty is the new mayor of San Francisco, her thing is, no, we shouldn't enforce the laws, and the laws have been discarded in many cases. We should teach the homeless to clean up after themselves.
Oh, my goodness.
So maybe we should teach them to take their clothes to the dry cleaner when they've been soiled and, to basically go find a place to live. I mean, it's ridiculous. 80% of the homeless, at least, are homeless because of three primary reasons. They're drug addicts, they're alcoholics, either class, who are unable to function in society because of their addiction, or they have mental challenges, they're mentally ill, and they're untreated, many of them. And another thing is that you cannot force a mentally ill person to take medication, even if the lack of that medication will lead to a psychotic episode or a schizophrenic break. You can't force them because they have a constitutional right to be insane. And that is the very definition of insanity.
Kerry, I'm sitting here in a fairly nice home and a nice studio, and I've got a nice place to live. I've had the amenities of life that I've worked for and strived for all my life, and I'm very well blessed by God. But I know there are many people that have gone through some torturous moments in their life and have contributed to their being homeless or turning to drugs or whatever. But there has to be a stopping point. There has to be a point where city governments and city council members and mayors say, enough is enough for the safety and the health of the rest of our city. We have to go in and we have to help eradicate this problem and solve the problem. Why is this not being done?
Okay. Because what the left wants you to believe is that the majority of homeless people on the streets are there because they lost their job and they were living paycheck to paycheck. And it's a failure of the economic system. Until we get down to the fact that these people are addicted to one substance or another or are mentally ill, we can never apply the right solution. To them, just pour more money in and let's get nannies for everybody, but it's not a solution. The only solution for the core of homelessness that I'm talking about, which is the addicted class and the mentally ill group, is reinstitutionalization. They must be institutionalized humanely, not like we've done in the past. And I mentioned in the article President Reagan, when he was governor of California, signed bills allowing the emptying of mental hospitals, and that somehow an infrastructure was going to arise, a community mental health infrastructure, but these people wound up on the streets, and even worse than living on the streets is many of the mentally ill wind up in our jails and prisons, which are wholly unsuited for treating people like this. These are medical issues that need to be treated in hospitals, and if we can help a person to become productive again and regain their sanity, then we need to do that. But if we can't, they need to stay in a supervised environment where they are not allowed to go free to come and go as they please and soil the streets. And the other thing, Zeb, is this is the ultimate campaign platform for conservatives to take back these liberal bastions, these cities, because every person, no matter what your economic level, no matter what your standard of living, you encounter these homeless people every single day of your life when you're in a New York City, when you're in Boston, when you're in San Francisco or L.A., and that is quickly becoming the number one political issue in the inner cities of America.
Yeah.
You want those people gone, not out of any sense of malice, but as a sense of protecting your own sanity and your own quality of life. And these people, many of them, are threats to the community. They're violent, they're screaming, they're battling, and they just contribute to a general sense of disorder. It's not their fault. I'm not blaming them. I don't want to punish them. I want to help them. But sometimes the best way to help these people is to institutionalize them. There's no other way.
Yeah.
You know, I wrote in my articles that 550,000 people were housed in mental hospitals in the mid-'50s. Right now, 45,000 are there. Population has doubled. That means we probably have 1 million people living on the streets who shouldn't be there. And that's not even talking about the drug epidemic and everything else. So until we institutionalize these people, we will have no peace in our cities. They will stink like sewers, and people will be doing the most unimaginable, ghastly things on our streets, and will be helpless to do a single thing about it.
Okay, I guess I'm a very simplified person, and I guess my initial reaction to this is, Carrie, and please jump in and tell me I'm dead wrong, but I lay the blame at the liberalized city councils and city mayors, or whatever the titles might be, because they haven't got the guts, the backbone, and the spine to address these problems and look the problem in the eye and say, we are going to solve this. This is going to change, not a week from now, but starting right now. Is it their problem and their fault?
It's also a function of the legal system as well, but it's a misperception of the problem. Okay, it can't be solved by sending out more social workers and having more single-room occupancy hotels for these people to live in. Once the problem is better understood, even a liberal will have to admit that the solution is a lot more drastic and a lot more permanent than what they're willing to admit now. But nobody is espousing this. Yeah, there's fringes of the psychiatric community that are calling for the rebirth of the asylum. And that's one of those negative terms, but this is what we need because these people are insane. They're living on our streets. Look, if you can force them to take medication so they become sane again, then I'm all for it. But under our current legal framework, it's virtually impossible to force a mentally ill person to take their medication, even though the result of them not taking it is going to wind up that they go insane. And that is the definition of insanity.
Absolutely. Now, Carrie, with your study to write this story, certainly you came away with some options, A, B, C, D, etc., as to how these problems could be addressed and how they may be, quote-unquote, cured. What are your, Carrie Lutz's, ideas that need to be implemented right now by these city councils?
Okay, so the people who are down on their luck, unfortunate due to economic circumstances, they are homeless. They're the easiest to remedy because you get them a place to stay. But the problem is that many of these so-called homeless they're online for public housing, and they get to jump the line if they're homeless. So we have some false statistics here. The next thing is we need to reinstitutionalize. We need to modify the legal system to state that anyone living on the street is an imminent threat to themselves and a possible imminent threat to the community so that they can be rapidly institutionalized and kept there on a semi-permanent, if not permanent basis if need be. We need to privatize the mental institutions, and we need to triage them. Drug addicts go one place, alcoholics go another. You can't mix and match the mentally ill with the criminally insane, which is what state hospitals have done for centuries now. You need to separate the mentally ill from the criminally insane. They need to be in different institutions, and then we have to triage them for people who can actually be helped with an aggressive medication protocol, and those who are hopeless and who will always be institutionalized.
Right.
And we need to put this in the private sector and closely monitor them. So every person in a hospital, mental hospital, and certain states have this, will have a public advocate who monitors their case and sees to it that they are treated humanely and with decency and respect.
Let me ask you this, and believe me, I'm on your side, and your article is so well written, but what about the simple 5-letter word, the costs, C-O-S-T-S? What about the costs, and where's the money going to be generated from?
All right. Look, in San Francisco, they're spending $40,000 per homeless person when you take into account emergency room visits, social workers, all this money that they're spending, homeless shelters, and on a cobbled-together system that just doesn't work. We're already spending the money, Zeb. So let's spend it in a way that's actually going to benefit these unfortunate souls and society. And let's not forget, you and I have a constitutional right to walk down the sidewalk of any city in any state and not be harassed and accosted and and not step in human excrement. We have that constitutional right, and our rights have been subsumed under the liberal do-gooder mantle of, they're just unfortunate people who've been screwed by the American economic system, and all we have to do is just give them money and throw things at them, and everything's going to be okay.
One of the parties that I talked to prior to your coming on the air this morning, that is a good friend of mine that lives in a close proximity of this problem, almost broke into tears, and this is a big, tough guy I was talking to. And he said, I have no idea how they can cure this problem or how they can ever clean it up. He said the stench and the absolute immeasurable cost of human filth down there is just unbelievable.
And it is heartbreaking. And what makes it even more heartbreaking, Zeb, is that it's unnecessary.
Right.
This is liberalism run amok. This isn't a failure of the American economic system. This is a failure of a liberalized American political system. If you institutionalize these people, they said there's, 7,000 people living on the streets of San Francisco, times 40,000.
Wow.
It's close to a couple $2 billion a year off the top of my head. The problem can be solved, but nobody is addressing the true underlying problem.
Right.
All right? Because if everybody was homeless just because they couldn't get a job or got evicted from their homes so they could gentrify it and put millionaires in their place, then you might have a point. But that isn't the underlying cause of this dysfunctionality. The underlying cause is failure to treat mental illness wherever and whenever it occurs, failure to accept that alcoholics who are chronic cannot care for themselves and cannot play a functional role in society, and that drug addicts really don't care where they drop their dirty needles. They'll just throw them wherever they are, and if there's no cost and there's no public enforcement of some basic form of morality on the streets, this is what you get.
Oh, my gosh. Kerry, final thoughts. I'm almost out of time here. But do you see any lights at the end of the tunnel through the Trump administration? They've been in office a year and a half. Are they doing anything to address this problem or help stop the problem?
Probably not. I think that the tax code, the tax reform greatly in favor of, because I think it's for the better of the country, is going to hurt these communities the most that can least afford it by driving out their wealthy citizens, because they're overtaxed as it is, and now they can't deduct their state and local taxes. People are running out of California, New York, Illinois, Connecticut, Maryland, like just get me the next U-Haul.
Oh,
probably
my.
going to have to take numbers to wait for U-Hauls in these places. So it's actually been the negative. But in the long run, Trump will have to address it, because it's becoming a number one problem in your life. It's one thing if people are blowing themselves up in the Middle East and screwing around with the oil, and Putin and Trump are, best buddies. That's all abstract. When you open up your door and there's a homeless person sprawled out in front of your door, that hits home. This is a major opportunity for an aggressive new generation, a new breed of politician to step in there and say, I will stop this madness. And that's at the state level and it's at the city level. That's where this really has to happen. It's really difficult to dictate this from Washington, D.C.
Okay, now we've got a caller with a question, but I've got exactly 1 minute left. Caller, don't go slow. Be really quick, please.
Okay, I will go. This problem they have in San Francisco, we can only imagine how serious it is. Maybe we should gather up one of our liberal friends and take them down there so they can see what our country's going to come into as a third world country. It's disgusting.
All right, caller, I appreciate your comment. And, Kerry, I think the caller said something that needs to be elaborated on real quickly, is that I don't think the rest of the nation that lives in kind of a comfort zone, whether it's Boise, Idaho, Salt Lake City, or Dallas, Texas, maybe they don't understand how bad these problems are.
Well, half the population or more is in urban zones. If you go to Las Vegas, you go to Miami, you go to New York, Philadelphia, any major city, Chicago, this is happening all over. It's just a question of how badly it's deteriorated. And as always, in most societal trends, California and San Francisco, L.A. in particular, lead the way, and they're leading the way now.
Absolutely. Kerry Lutz, I can't say enough good about your articles. You are absolutely hitting the nail right on the head. Quickly, how can people read the open sewer theory of policing? Where can they find this to read that article?
Sure. Well, it got picked up on dozens of sites all over the world, but just go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and type in the search box open sewer. You'll find it right there.
God bless you, my friend. Come back more often. You are absolutely one of the best. Thank you so much.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, sir. Kerry Lutz, and an outstanding expose of what's happening in our large cities with the absolute filth and the drug problem, etc., and the homelessness. I am so late. I've got to get a weather forecast on here real quick. The weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, with Don Scarrow and the crew. You can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Delicious meats for all the rest of our barbecue season, including the marinated pork ribs, absolutely delicious, just $1.99 per pound. Oh, delicious meats from Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Another warm and smoky day here in the valley. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are expecting areas of smoke, so if you have some upper respiratory issues, please make note of that, as we do have fires burning to the north and to the east. Other than that, mostly sunny skies. It is going to be hot. Calling for a high of 97, possible triple digits. Winds out of the east-northeast, right around 5 miles an hour. Tonight, areas of smoke before midnight, partly cloudy skies, expecting a low of 63. By Wednesday, mostly sunny skies, cooling off to about 94, if you want to consider that a cool-off. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low of 63. Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high of 91 for Friday, sunny and 86. Looks like mid-80s for Saturday. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Great job, Gina. Thank you. And brought to you by Scarrows Meats, Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. Delicious meats from Scarrows Meats, changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. And speaking of time, I'm out of time, and I want to remind everybody about our great Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. If you're getting ready for a road trip, you got to get ready and prepared. Go in to see them. Check out all the great tires for your cars, pickups, SUVs, camp trailers, horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever. And along with the best in tires, many of which are on sale right now, don't forget they've got the best in brake service and front-end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries. But above all, at all 7 locations, the best in service. They really take care of you. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The best. Woo! Gotta get out of here. It's been a great day. Thank you for all your calls. Thank you for all your input. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 8:06 right here on 1230 AM K-Bar Radio, and then also streaming all over the world on ZebBell.com. God bless you and your family, and remember, the way things were, the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys.